that magic moment on the Venice beach 45 years ago was not only meaningful because of what happened during the day. That night, I walked into my journalist friend's house to tell him about my day, and in walked Maya Angelou. She was very nice, somewhat quiet, and I was telling this story of the founding of what was then Operation California and is now Operation USA. She looked at me and she said in her amazing voice, "It's a sign, and you must follow it wherever it leads you." Here we are today, 45 years later, on the Venice Beach in California, which is where on June 16, 1979, two fast-talking aides, senior aides to Governor Jerry Brown of California, were reading the newspaper. If you get a good bird's eye view, I was about halfway out on the sand and seeing something that affected California, and ultimately, in my case, affected me for the next 45 years. The Vietnamese boat people, or refugees, fleeing in small boats, and the American Airlines McDonnell Douglas DC-10 crash in Chicago, which killed 330 people. That's 45 long years ago. And we decided to go inside my Venice Beach apartment, just down from here 100 yards, and call the chairman of McDonnell Douglas Aircraft, who we guessed was working on Saturday, since his entire fleet of DC-10s, which were made right here in Long Beach, was grounded. So we called on the phone and we told the only little fib I always cop to, which was we were calling from the governor's office. But in fact, we hadn't discussed it with Governor Jerry Brown yet. But he wound up being very enthusiastic when we told him what we did. But we got the chairman of McDonnell Douglas on the phone saying, "What does the governor want?" And we said, "Well, you're a major employer in California. It's a huge impact on Southern California, and there are hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese resettled refugees in Northern and Southern California. And so we thought it would be interesting to get an airplane, a cargo version of a DC-10, and load it full of relief supplies, and we had no clue what that would entail. We were just a couple of fast-talking governor's aides on the beach. No plans, no experience in relief work. Maybe that's what made it possible. We didn't know we couldn't do it. When we announced we were doing this, and the media, there were no wars going on, there were no celebrity scandals, there was no election. So the media sort of thought it was cool. Like, we did Good Morning America 4 days in a row. And why? Because they kept saying, "Where are you at? When is it leaving? What do you have? Who's donating to you?" And we were getting donations of jet fuel. We had a free plane, but we didn't want to have any other cost. So we told the airline, "We'll give you whatever jet fuel we can get from the two oil companies, Arco and Unocal, which used to be based in LA, no longer." My father had and mother had Walden Surgical and Walden Pharmacy. So we had that to rely on, connections. I was the commissioner of hospitals from 1977, so I had already done 2.5 years, and so I had my own connections in the healthcare industry. So we decided to see what we could learn. We've always believed in give and it gets there. And seeing that happen time and time again reinforces our belief that even small actions can have a big impact. And we had no plans, by the way, on June 16th, 1979, to do more than a one-off kind of thing. But what happened was not 29 days later, for Good Morning America's, Washington Post, Los Angeles Times, we had Jane Fonda and Governor Jerry Brown at the airport seeing us off to Malaysia.
Ready for takeoff.
July the 16th, 1979, an American Boeing 707 cargo plane lands in the humid haze of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, carrying vital medical supplies. Their destination, Pulau Bidong.
We put everything on a truck in the middle of the night and took 2 fishing boats to this waterless, treeless rock island where they cooped up 44,000 Vietnamese refugees. And we gave them everything we had. And the U.S. Embassy set us up on the borders of Cambodia and Laos to look at those refugee camps, which had way more people than the one in Malaysia. We distributed our cargo and started getting lots of offers from pharmaceutical companies and hospitals saying, hey, you are the only ones who seem to be able to get stuff there with a plane, hello, and there's no government money involved. And so it was attractive to donor companies. The magic moment, if you will, was we got home from Malaysia and I was in my law office in Beverly Hills when the phone rang. And it was this unforgettable voice. Hello, this is Julie Andrews. I saw you. My husband, Blake Edwards, the director, saw you. We have 2 Vietnamese babies we adopted 4 years earlier, and we want to help. And that has led to a 45-year-long relationship.
And what can I do? But every dollar, every drop soon fills a bucket, as I'm sure you well know.
Julie Andrews and Blake Edwards opened the door to Hollywood. It built upon our first flight where Jane Fonda and Jerry Brown saw us off. There were no international aid groups based in LA. Nobody had Julie Andrews and Blake Edwards behind them. That brought in Frank Sinatra.
The Chicago Cubbies.
It brought in Michael Jackson's first solo as a 21-year-old. It brought in Ed Asner.
Richard Walden and his organization have made it their job to help those in need.
It brought in Mary Tyler Moore, Carol Burnett, and having that was invaluable. We could not have done any of this alone. From the celebrities who lent their voices to the countless volunteers and corporate donors, each played a part in this ongoing story. Looking back, I can't help but feel a mix of amazement and gratitude. We faced obstacles, sure, but every challenge taught us something new, pushed us a little further. The world is a vastly different place now than it was 45 years ago. But the need for a compassionate response to people has not changed.
Oh, look!
After 45 years, one thing's clear. We're not stopping anytime soon. There's always more to do, more people to reach, and with fresh minds and hearts joining in. It's inspiring to see young folks today taking the reins. They aren't waiting for someone to tell them it's okay. They're just jumping in.
A lot of communities are just being forgotten.
Because I care about humans and their well-being.
And that's exactly what the world needs, much like we did back then.
In a relentless search for new technology, OpUSA's Operation Landmine endeavors to find a solution to the estimated 65 million mines buried in 60 countries.
If there's anything about this video that stimulates your imagination, 45 years of advanced technology now, you can reach out to 1 billion people. We never set out to create a legacy. We just wanted to help where we could. But if our journey inspires others to take action, then that's more than we could ever have asked for. So if I can do it, you can do it.